Welcome to Journey into Misery, where I explain complicated comics characters and concepts to the patient and perpetually perplexed Helen at heart. My name's Kieran Shiek. How are you doing tonight, Helen?
I'm good.
We're going to break the illusion. We're recording this immediately
Deja
after.
vu.
Yeah, we're recording this immediately after last week's episode because I felt like we're on a bit of a roll.
Yeah, might as well.
This week's episode is a bit shorter. We're just doing 2011 through to today.
The irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, this is the most relevant, really.
No, it's not. The 52.
Yeah, it's the most relevant to current comics. We may not like it, but it is what DC Comics is these days. So what do you know of the New 52 from what I've told you or from what your friends may have told you?
Ruined everything.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of it. There we go.
Okay.
It was revitalised and it did not work.
Varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
So it starts with a story called Flashpoint,
Yeah.
where Barry wakes up in his office, CSI guy,
Right.
and he can't feel the Speed Force anymore. He's no longer the Flash.
Okay.
And he goes downstairs and his mum's there.
Okay. Right. So it's like the Flash never happened.
Yeah. Like everything in this world is different to how he remembers it. No one knows who Superman is. Cyborg's like the Superman of this world. He's like the guy everyone looks up to.
Don't want to live in that world.
Fun.
I don't want to live in that world.
And Batman is like crazy murderous.
I do want to live in that world. That's awesome.
No, Batman.
How cool would Batman be as like a serial killer?
As soon as Barry finds out that this is a world where at least Batman's still there, he heads to Wayne Manor to like meet up with Bruce and find out what's going on. But he gets there and he finds out that Bruce died in the alley.
Oh.
And then Batman
No.
Batman is Thomas Wayne,
Oh god.
Bruce's dad.
Yeah.
There's loads of miniseries around this about the world of Flashpoint. The Batman one, you find out that Bruce gets shot, Thomas becomes Batman, Martha becomes the Joker.
That's cool. Ish.
You don't have to change your opinion just because like I shake my head.
It's cool, but like, is it? I've not read it.
My biggest problem with Flashpoint is all the ideas for the characters, they don't really gel together. It's a lot of ideas that like you'd be sat with your buddies and be like, yo, what if it was Bruce that got killed and then Thomas became Batman and Martha became the Joker?
That's what I mean, like, it sounds cool, but like, in execution, is it gonna be cool?
I just don't
like,
think together...
serial killer Batman. It wouldn't work.
He's not serial killer Batman, he's more like Punisher Batman.
Yeah, murderous Batman, like, would that work?
Yeah.
Is that a thing that anyone could get on board with? Like, it sounds cool, but would it be?
Well, I like, every time you say that it sounds cool, it's like, I tense up a little bit, because I'm so against the idea of Batman killing.
Yeah, but, I don't know. I just really like villains, you know this.
Yeah. Like, there's some cool concepts in it, like Captain Marvel, who, historically, the DC Captain Marvel, not the Marvel Captain Marvel.
Okay.
He's a guy who, he's a little kid, he says Shazam, becomes a big superhero.
That's really cool.
In the Flashpoint universe, he's like a bunch of kids,
Right.
and because each letter in Shazam represents a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the wisdom of Zeus, or the strength of Apollo, or
Right.
something like that.
Okay.
So each of these kids embodies one of these things, and they say Shazam, or they say their letter, and they become Captain
Super
Marvel.
Cool superhero.
Yeah. There's a lot of ideas that could be cool on their own, but they don't.
Yeah, they just don't fit together.
You can't build a universe around it. Anyway, Barry heads to Wayne Manor to meet up with Bruce. He finds it's Thomas. He finds his flash ring, pops it open.
Yeah.
Costume's yellow.
Oh god. Why?
It's Professor Zoom.
Why is he back?
So he tells Thomas that in my universe you died, Bruce is alive. So Thomas is like, if I can find a way to bring the universe back, I will. Because I'd rather Bruce was alive than me.
Christ, okay.
So Barry's like, we need to replicate the accident that gave me my powers. So he straps himself to an electric chair
Yeah.
with like a big lightning rod, and he's surrounded by the chemicals. He gets hit by lightning, and it goes amazing.
Does it work? Oh, that's really cool.
He gets just electrocuted and burnt to shit.
Is that the art from the comic?
Yeah.
That's really cool. I like that. Do you like the art in the New 52?
Well, this is just for Flashpoint. Like in the New 52, it depends on.
Yeah, it depends on the artist, obviously. But I like that. That's
I
nice.
don't like the Flashpoint art that much.
I quite like it.
Okay.
It's not comic booky art to me. It looks more just like.
Okay.
It doesn't look comic booky to me.
Okay.
but then not really read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't
I
know.
see what you mean. But that doesn't work. Barry's response is, we need a bigger bolt of lightning.
Right.
Does it again, gets the powers.
At least it worked.
Yeah. Batman and the Flash team up with Cyborg,
It has Cyborg, Metal Man.
and they're like, we need to find Superman. What's happened with Superman? They find out that Superman's rocket, instead of crashing in Smallville, crashed in Metropolis, killed hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh,
The rocket was taken by the government.
shit.
They find out where the rocket is because Cyborg can plug into every computer. They find Superman, who's been kept under government observation since his rocket landed. He's never been exposed to sunlight,
So this sounds like a really cool idea.
which is what gives him his powers. And this is what Superman looks like.
Oh, what? He's just some weedy guy.
Yeah.
In, like, a Perspex box.
Hmm. And that's like red sun radiation, which like saps his powers.
Oh my god.
So they bust Superman out, but he doesn't have the moral compass.
Yeah, because he's never
Yeah.
experienced
Because he wasn't
things.
raised by the Kents. So he just like burns a dude and then fucks off.
Jesus.
So they team up with Shazam and the characters of the world because there's this war between Aquaman and Wonder Woman.
Why?
Because everyone's just really shit in the Flashpoint universe.
Fair enough. That's what we need to know.
And because Barry's still a hero, he's like, well, we still need to save people if we can.
Yeah, like, you have to try.
Mm-hmm. And then during the fight, the Shazam kids get split apart, and one of them just gets straight up skewered by Wonder Woman. That was when I was like,
What?
I was like, no, I'm done. I'm fucking done with this comic.
No!
It's a child, yeah,
Child being murdered by
Wonder Woman,
Wonder Woman.
yeah.
What?
And it ends with Professor Zoom showing up, and he says, "Look what you did to Barry."
What?
Because
What?
this isn't Zoom's fault.
It's not.
It's Barry's fault.
It's Barry's fault, but...
Barry went back in time to try and save his mum, but because Barry can't navigate the time stream like Professor Zoom can, it broke the time stream,
Barry's a bad
resulting
egg.
in the Flashpoint universe.
Bad egg.
So everything that happened in the Flashpoint universe and everything that happened as a result of the New 52 is Barry Allen's fault.
Yeah, because he's the worst.
Everything is Barry's
Let
fault.
me say I hate Barry.
Yeah. So Batman kills Professor Zoom, and there's a load more fighting, but at this point it doesn't matter, because in a few pages the Flashpoint universe is going to get wiped away
Of course.
for the New 52. Barry has to choose between a universe where his mother is alive or a universe where millions of people are threatened by this massive war.
Right.
A threat that would not exist if it was like a decision he wouldn't have to make in the first place.
If he
If he-
hadn't fucked everything up.
Yeah, Barry Allen is history's greatest villain.
He's the worst.
So he goes back in time and he stops himself from stopping Zoom killing his mum.
Okay, right.
And as Barry's running back through the time stream, this woman named Pandora, who doesn't matter, she's like a MacGuffin character.
Okay.
She's like, ooh, the world was always fucked, this is our chance to fix it. She mashes up a bunch of the universes, New 52.
Amazing.
Barry remembers the Flashpoint thing happening,
Yeah.
but he remembers it, like, he doesn't see anything wrong with the universe as it is. He thinks he fixed.
He thinks that it's okay
Yeah,
that
like,
he did all of this.
no, not that he did all this, but the New 52 universe is how things always were.
Okay, I think that's...
He doesn't remember
That's
the time.
okay with him.
He doesn't remember the time before the New 52 universe. He gives Bruce Wayne a letter from Thomas, and Bruce has a big old cry.
Aw, poor Bruce.
Alongside this, there's a bunch of miniseries about the world of Flashpoint,
Mm-hmm.
and there's one that's really, really good. It's the only, well, to be fair, it's the only one that I actually read, but as far as I'm aware, all the others pretty bad. Can't speak to that our personal experience. But there's one called Kid Flash Lost, which is about Bart Allen.
Yeah.
Bart Allen gets poured into the Flashpoint version of the 31st century by Brainiac, who's a Superman villain.
Okay.
Brainiac's deal is he collects interesting things and cool things, and a lot of Superman origins have Brainiac destroying Krypton,
Okay.
because he likes to bottle cities.
That's cool.
He'll bottle a city, and he'll destroy the planet. He's a collector of worlds.
That's really cool.
And he's collected Bart Allen because Bart Allen is an anomaly in the time stream. He breaks away from Brainiac, but he no longer has access to the Speed Force because Barry Allen never became the Flash.
Yeah.
Barry Allen never created the Speed Force. But Bart, because of his anomalous nature, still remembers the pre-Flashpoint universe.
Yes.
He starts, like in Back to the Future,
Mhm.
where Marty starts fading out of the picture.
Yeah.
That's what's happening to Bart, because if Barry never becomes the Flash, he never goes into the future, he never has kids, those kids never have kids, which are Bart.
Etc. Etc.
He gets recaptured by Brainiac and placed in a virtual environment, but in a virtual environment is where Bart was raised.
Yeah.
So he outthinks Brainiac, similar to what Wally did to the Thinker, and he frees the Speed Force, and he goes off running to fix things.
That's cool.
He becomes like unstuck through time, and he's like bouncing from like significant person to significant person, quite similar to what Barry did during the Crisis,
Yeah.
but like black flashy.
Right.
So like he shows up to someone and he sucks their Speed Force, and he seems like the Speed Force, and but it's the Flashpoint versions of them, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter that they're dying.
Like it's happening, but who cares?
Yeah. So he sucks the Speed Force from Max and Johnny and Savitar and Jay, and he uses that to find Barry, and he's running alongside Barry, and he uses all that Speed Force he's built up to give it to Barry, for Barry to like complete his run and fix the universe.
Okay.
And he becomes the living embodiment of the Speed Force energy, and he becomes the White Flash.
Ah, that's cool.
And then he like dies and fades in with the Speed Force. It's really, really well done. The first 2 issues are okay, but that 3rd issue is like a real love letter to the entire Flash family.
Oh.
It was written by a guy called Sterling Gates, who was supposed to write the Kid Flash ongoing that I mentioned last week.
But
which
he
never
didn't.
happened. It never happened.
Oh.
So after this New 52, everything is different. So in the New 52, Barry is okay. As a character, he's...
Meh.
Yeah. He's not as boring as he was, like, before he died.
Not a terrible person.
He's not a terrible person, but he's not a Wally. He's not...
He's not Wally.
Yeah. Like, if we did episode titles based... like a lot of podcasts do episode titles based on quotes from the episode.
Yeah.
This would just be good. But it's not Wally.
This is not Wally.
In the New 52, he's not dating Iris, but she's in his life, like they're friends.
She's present.
He's dating a woman named Patty Spivot,
Okay.
who is a fellow CSI person.
Is she significant?
In the New 52, yeah, like they're still, like 3 years later, they're still dating.
Oh.
In his first adventure, he meets up with his friend, who's a guy called Manuel. He was like a soldier, and he was experimented on to be like a bit Captain America-y.
Right.
But he gets captured by the enemy,
Oh dear.
and the enemy cut his finger off. Like to torture him, they keep cutting his fingers off because he's got like super soldier experiment powers.
Yeah.
He keeps growing his fingers back.
Ah, lizard man.
What the enemies didn't expect were that each of those fingers would grow a Manuel
Oh,
back.
that's so cool. That's amazing.
So he's a supervillain called Mob Rule,
Right.
but all of the copies keep dying
Why?
because they're not like the original, so they're trying to find out.
Like clones.
Yeah,
like
kind
how
of.
clones die.
Yeah, so they're trying to find out like a way to save themselves, but they can't.
Oh.
After that, he finds out the Speed Force is causing rips in time.
Okay.
So the scientist guy is like, yeah, you need to stop running. You need to stop accessing the Speed Force because you're causing these rips in time and stuff's falling into them.
Your stuff is falling into time space.
But it turns out it's this guy called Turbine, who was a pilot in World War II,
Yeah.
who got trapped in the Speed Force
Oh.
and has been trying to get out. And every time he tries to get out, he causes one of these rips.
How did he get in there?
He like flew through like a weird cloud or something.
Okay, fair enough. Comics.
But a bunch of people fall into the Speed Force while this is going on, including Iris.
Oh.
But they get out, it's fine.
It doesn't matter, it's never too.
The Rogues come back and they've all got powers now,
Okay.
like actual powers.
Like legit powers.
Yeah, because this scientist guy, he's like this really weird detached guy who's just doing things to see what happens.
Okay, just experimenting.
Yeah, so he gives the Rogues powers, but I think they lose them in a Forever Evil miniseries. I've not read that, so I can't confirm. But the Rogues attack and they have powers, and Captain Cold's on the outs, and Golden Glider is still alive, and she takes over as the leader of the Rogues. And she has powers now where she gets caught in a blast and she's in a coma, so she's kind of
It's a whole
ghosty.
mess of stuff.
Like yeah. But then the Rogues like knock out the Flash and they basically beat him. And as that happens, Gorilla Grodd attacks Central City.
He's back.
Well, he's here for the first time. Remember we
Oh,
covered
yeah. He was never here before.
Yeah. So it's kind of a funny cliffhanger because the Rogues defeat the Flash, and then this giant gorilla shows up with a gorilla army, and the Rogues like, we could really use the Flash right now.
Yeah. This would be very helpful.
The New 52 Flash is fun, it's okay, it's got fantastic art by some guys called Francis Manapul and Brian Buccellato, and they write it together. Manapul is the artist and Buccellato is the colourist,
Right.
so they do the whole thing themselves. And the art in it is utterly beautiful, but the stories are just kind of...
Yeah. It's disappointing.
yeah.
Because, like, there's no use in
Mhm.
amazing art if it doesn't tell anything.
So Gorilla Grodd attacks because the gorillas, they worship the Speed Force, and Grodd wants the Speed Force from Barry,
Yeah, as always.
but Barry defeats him. The people who were lost in the Speed Force come back, and some of them have powers.
Some of them don't.
But they start getting picked off by the Reverse Flash.
Yeah, zoom zoom. What? No! Oh, that's so cool.
That is not Eobard Thawne, and it is not Hunter Zolomon.
It's not Professor Zoom.
No, it's not Professor Zoom. He's never referred to as Professor Zoom or Zoom. He is the Reverse Flash.
But
His powers are kind of like... Do you ever play Prince of Persia?
I know of it.
You know, like in that, like if you die, you can rewind the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Okay.
So he's more reverse than any of the other Flashes.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
But he's... The more Speed Force he has, the further back he can go. So he's killing off all those people that were trapped in the Speed Force.
Okay.
Because he wants to go back and kill his father.
That's nice.
Who is also Iris's father, because it's Iris's brother Daniel West.
What? Why does he want to kill his dad?
Because his dad was a shit.
Oh, fair enough. That's enough reason to murder someone.
Yeah. But when he was a kid, his dad was being a shit, and he shoved him down some stairs, and he paralysed his father. So he's got guilt over that, so he's like, you know what, if I just like go back and kill him.
Then it won't happen.
Yeah.
Might as well murder him.
He goes back, and the young Iris sees this monster and gets scared.
Yeah.
And Barry's able to talk him down and absorb the Speed Force back from him and take everyone back. Okay, so Kid Flash in the New 52.
Yes.
He's called Bart Allen, but he's not a Bart Allen. He has no relation.
The news is coming.
He has no relation to Barry Allen whatsoever.
Good boy.
So fuck this guy forever.
Is it worse than, like, General Barry?
He's an actual supervillain. He shows up in Teen Titans with no memory of how he got there.
Okay.
Well, it turns out he's a guy from the 30th century or 31st century
Of course.
called Bar Tor. B-A-R space T-O-R-R.
Yeah.
And he's from a society that are ruled by functionaries who look down on and stamp out creationists. So it's like a science versus faith thing.
Yeah.
And his family are faith-based, and they get killed. Bart escapes with his sister, and they spend ages on the run. He raises up enough money to send her to a convent, basically, and then he becomes like a rebel. He flies through the weird storm, he gets speed powers, he kills like a fuck ton of people, like war criminal stuff,
He's a dick.
like utterly war criminal stuff.
That's not him.
He gets arrested and he agrees to testify against his rebel buddies, so he gets sent to witness protection.
Yeah.
But witness protection in the future is having your memory wiped and getting sent to the past.
Eee.
So that's what happens.
Why did they do that to him?
Fun.
Why did the writers make him unrecognisable?
Fuck Scott Lobdell forever.
Is it his doing?
Yeah. He comes back and he revealed it was all a plan for him to get close enough to the judges to launch a strike and kill them. He's an unrepentant mass murderer.
Yeah, I don't think any amount of apologising
Yeah.
is going to undo that.
So, but he gets talked down by his sister, who is now she works for the guys, she's on the opposite side to him.
Okay.
So he gets sent to the prison planet Taron Galtus, and that's where he currently is.
He's on a prison planet with
Yeah.
the rest of the villains?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, after Manapel and Buccioletto leave, the new creative team bring back Wally West to the New 52.
Good.
So Wally West's been gone for ages. You know Wally West. Do you remember what Wally West looks like?
Yes.
This is Wally West in the New 52.
What? Okay. Why has he not got a costume?
Because he's not. He's just Wally West.
It's not even anything. Okay. We'll go with this. I'm just going to go with it.
Wally West is 13 years old.
Yeah.
He's a teenager. He's Iris's nephew from their other brother. So it's Iris, Daniel, and Rudolph.
Okay.
Rudolph married a black lady.
Yep.
Which is why Wally is mixed race.
Yep.
And I don't have a problem with it. It's really hard to criticise what they've done with Wally, because I don't have a problem with changing the ethnicity of a character. I was all for Donald Glover, and it's really hard to talk about without sounding like I'm covering my own tracks on this.
Yeah.
So I really want to watch my words as I say
It's
this.
just whenever you bring up the issue, it's
Yeah.
like, okay.
Because the new Human Torch in the new Fantastic Four film is black.
Yeah.
It's Michael B. Jordan. Kingpin in the Daredevil film was black. That was fine. It's everything else that they've changed about him.
Yeah.
Because do you know about the Theseus paradox?
No.
It's the idea that, say you've got a ship,
Yeah.
and you take one of the planks away and you replace the plank
With another plank?
with another plank.
Yeah.
Is it still the same ship?
Yes.
What if you take away another plank and put in another new plank?
As long as you don't take away every plank.
But at what point does it stop being the same ship?
When there's more new than old.
But what if you take all the planks you took away and build a new ship, which is the original ship? That's the Theseus paradox.
Okay, yeah.
That's how I feel about Wally West. They've changed everything about him to the point that he isn't Wally West.
Yeah, he's like completely unrecognisable.
Because his character is that his dad took off, and then during a big crossover Fate of the World event, his mum took off as well. So he's got no parental figures. So Iris is looking after him, and she asks Barry to like step in and kind of be like a male role model for him.
Right.
But Wally's a jerk, he's arrogant, he's...
The worst.
Yeah, he's got nothing...
Such a Barry.
He's got nothing about him that makes Wally West. How many aspects of Wally West's personality do you take away and replace with something new before you don't have Wally West anymore?
You can literally just have the name Wally West and then a random guy.
Yeah, and it is really hard to talk about because they changed his ethnicity. Any criticism about them changing Wally West just sounds like you're one of those guys shouting about like Donald Glover as Spider-Man.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, it would be really cool, but it's really hard to criticise. This is really hard to criticise, not that. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So Barry starts bonding with Wally, but we see 35 years in the future. Barry's gone just off the rails after Wally dies as a teenager.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's 3 times in this storyline. There's the present, there's 5 years from now, and there's 35 years from now. So 5 years from now, Wally dies
Yes.
in a car accident.
Okay.
So Barry's gone off the rails, and this is what he looks like. This is who will be referred to as Future Flash.
Whoa, okay, that's not what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he blue?
Because he's like mainlining the Speed Force.
Okay, right. So he's super involved.
Yeah. So he's bouncing through time, fixing everything that went wrong. There's loads of stuff that went wrong with the Rogues where they killed more people than they expected to, and Barry kind of shows up and he's like, seriously, I'm from the future. Don't do this. Look
Trust me.
Look at this newspaper headline. Like, Mirror Master holds a load of people hostage by trapping them in a mirror.
Yes.
But then an earthquake hits Central City.
Okay.
So Barry's like, no, you have to let them out now. An earthquake's about to hit.
Oh.
And he does that a bunch. And he gets there, Wally's killed. But he saves Wally and Iris. He goes back to 5 years from now. He saves Iris and Wally. And then he fights the Barry from 5 years from now.
Okay.
He
right.
kills that Barry, and the feedback of Speed Force gives Wally super speed and sends Future Flash bouncing back to the present.
Yeah.
So Future Flash confronts present Barry and says, so this is Barry 35 years from now, who's already killed Barry 5 years from now, who now wants to kill Barry from now, saying there's a rip in the Speed Force, he's trying to fix it, and the only thing that will fix it is his death.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Future Flash is winning, and then Wally West shows up as an adult as the Flash
What? That doesn't look anything like the Flash.
in a silver and red and black costume.
Yeah.
He ends up dying, saving present Barry, and the explosion of Speed Force energy from future Wally dying fixes the wound, and
And everything.
yeah, present Barry gets sent into this weird jungle savagey place,
Right.
and the explosion de-ages 35 years from now Barry
Right.
to the age he should be in this year. So you've
Just
got,
fixed everything.
well no, because
Sort of.
our Barry is trapped in this weird jungle place,
Okay.
while the messed up future Flash is walking around as Barry. And that's where we are right now.
So Barry's still stuck in weird jungle place, and there's a Barry imposter just chilling.
Yeah.
Right. And they're currently trying to sort that out.
Yeah, that's the current story.
Right.
And that's where we are with the New 52.
But will they sort it out? Probably not.
We'll
Probably
see.
just gonna fuck everything up again.
Like, I read all this stuff in preparation because I stopped reading The Flash during the Reverse Flash arc because I stopped reading DC Comics for a year.
Yeah, you did. I
So-
realised that.
I caught back up, and it's not bad. The art's pretty bad, but I do enjoy the story to a point, and I like this new Wally West. I like the character. If he was called anything else,
Yeah, he's a good character, but he's not Wally.
yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, but I just don't see it as Wally. And it's because we've already seen Wally grow from 13-year-old kid Flash through through what we've been talking about for this entire podcast.
You had like
We've
years
seen-
and years and years of Wally being this like
But we've seen him
consistent
grow
character.
up. No, not even a consistent character, an evolving character.
Yeah,
He's grown up.
but he's
and
been the same person.
Yeah, he got married, he had kids, he had a family, and now it's just back to square one. That's what really bugs me. I'd rather they just named this guy anything else and didn't bring Wally West back.
Yeah, like you could have just invented a new character.
I tweeted the other day saying, it's really strange that it's been 3 years and they've not brought Wally West back yet. And someone tweeted saying, oh no, he's back. And I just tweeted, as I said, it's really strange that it's been 3 years and they haven't brought Wally West back.
Like,
But yeah, that is The Flash, we're done.
I like the Flash. Not so much new Wally.
He's a good character though. I don't want to discredit the work that Robert Venditti and Van Jensen are doing on the book. It's a fun, interesting time travel story that I did enjoy reading, but
But it's not the point in the grand
Yeah.
scheme of things, is it?
yeah, it just, I think it's also with this Wally here. It feels like, well, my Wally's never coming back now.
Yeah, like,
Before he came back, there was a hope,
yeah.
and now there isn't
I
anymore.
guess it's alright if you're just like reading the occasional issue, but like someone like you that follows the story, then it's important that you keep
Yeah.
things recognisable.
So, do you feel like you know a lot more about the Flash now?
I do, and it makes me want to watch this season.
Yeah, back in like a few weeks, I think.
I've only seen like the 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd understand it more now,
hmm
and it would be a more enjoyable experience.
Well, next week we're jumping over to Marvel.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to tell the listeners what next week's episode is?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
You excited for that?
I'm very excited.
We're going to watch the movie first,
Oh god, yes. Love that movie.
and then I'm going to explain the Guardians of the Galaxy, who they were before they were the Guardians of the Galaxy, what hijinks they got up to as the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm excited. I'm excited to know about them individually.
It's going to be fun. But until then, we are on iTunes.
Yes.
You can subscribe to the show on there. If you'd be so kind as to leave us a rating or a review, that helps more people find the show, which is always appreciated. Go to kingandpulse.com, which has all of the show notes. We can find out more about characters or creators or series. I'm Kieran Shiak. I am at King and Pulse on Twitter.
I'm Helena Hart. I'm HE on Twitter.
Thank you for joining us on our journey into misery, and we'll see you next week.
It was a very journey.